Hi everyone, I'm Amy and I'm just going to give everybody a heads up about Saturn moving into Aries, which is occurring on Sunday, the 25th of May. That's Australia time. Now, Saturn moving into Aries is kind of a big deal because Saturn only changes signs every 2.5 years or begins the process of changing signs. And that's what's happening now. So Saturn is beginning the process of changing signs. And what I mean by that is on the 25th, Saturn will leave Pisces and enter Aries, sorry. And Saturn will only get to about the 1 degree mark of Aries and then stop, turn backwards in the sky. And then in September, Saturn will re-enter Pisces, go back to 25 degrees of Pisces, stop, move forward. And I'm pretty sure it's February, 13th February next year, Saturn will re-enter Aries and stay in Aries until April 2028. Now, so with Saturn only getting to the 1st degree of Aries, we're only going to get a bit of a taste of the next 2.5 years. But for the rest of the year, so we're going to get this taste of the new Saturn themes. And then towards the end of the year, Saturn's going to go back into Pisces to wrap up the Pisces themes that we've been dealing with for the last 2.5 years. Now, usually where Saturn goes, hard work, frustrations, it's like we're busting our chops, and sometimes it can feel like we're getting drop kicked in the guts with these Saturn transits. Now, yes, Saturn can cause some major problems, and sometimes things happen that you don't really understand, or you think you didn't deserve, or why does it have to be this way? But with Saturn, if you can pull yourself out of the victim mentality, get up, dust yourself off, and move on, and learn wisdom, learn practicality, and learn the reality of the situation, you can get a lot of rewards. Now, that's not all the time, but I think, no matter what happens to us in life, we can only choose how we respond. Now, that can all sound pretty heavy, and yes, sometimes Saturn transits can be pretty heavy, but Saturn too can bring some good stuff. Like it can actually bring a lot of wealth from hard work. It can really help you get organized in life. Using Saturn's energy constructively is pulling your finger out of your ass and really going hard and making something out of your life. So it's not always to be feared, more to be worked with. And if you choose not to be the victim, if you choose to put in the hard work and learn the lessons, you can achieve a lot. Now, how Saturn will play out for you will obviously vary greatly, and it all really goes back to your natal chart. You've got to consider things like whether you were born at night or whether you're born at day, how well Saturn is placed in your natal chart as well, what house Saturn will be transiting. So I think most people in astrology can agree that some houses, their topics are a little bit more fun than others. So there's a lot of things to consider usually when you're trying to work out how transit's going to affect somebody. But as a general rule, Saturn will be putting you to hard work and making you get your shit together. Saturn also does things like, okay, so just say Saturn, when it moves into Aries, it's your 7th house, and you're in this relationship, and yes, there's these problems, but you just can't bother dealing with it. Well, guess what? You're going to be made deal with it. Also, if you've been putting a lot of hard work, like just say Saturn's going to go over your midheaven, and you've been putting in the hard work, you've been diligent, you might get the rewards. But if you have been lazy and slack and not giving really a shit about what you've been doing at work and career, well, then you'll get what you deserve there too. So, yeah, as I said, the results of Saturn can vary greatly. But probably some themes that most people will be dealing with when Saturn transits Aries are learning to express our anger and our frustrations constructively. We might at times feel like we've got this ball of rage in our belly, but we just can't let it out. So we've got to think about how to best let it out. Instead of just yelling at, screaming at someone, we might just have to take a step back and figure out how to express ourselves more constructively. We can also find that authority figures are holding us down, and we've got to figure out how to fight back and stand up as well. So, one of the best ways to see how this 2.5 year transit, what topics are going to probably be a little bit of a hard work and asking you to be more constructive about and get your shit together, is seeing what house the Aries part of your chart is. So, just say Aries is your ninth house, so you might get involved in a faith that you have to turn up to every week, or you take that big overseas trip that you've been too scared to do as well. Or if Aries is your second house, you might find that your finances are pulled back a bit, and now you have to redo a budget and learn to be better with money. So check the Aries house of your chart, and that will give you a bit of an idea about what areas of life will need to be overhauled in the next 2.5 years. Thank you.